hour. So let's talk Tucker.
Yay!
Last Sunday, Media Matters released a series of unearthed audio. This is how they promoted it. It's been unearthed. What happened is Media Matters, who likes to present themselves as a media watchdog, when in actuality is just a anti-Fox hit group. Basically, their sole purpose is to get Fox off the air and Fox hosts off the air. So
they can't let go of Tucker, though. Fox is unwatchable with that. There's nothing else
on
Fox
will.
I care about. Yeah,
they never will. Yeah.
Doesn't he have the highest viewed show on Fox?
I think it's the highest rated cable news show, period.
Yeah,
I might be
good luck,
wrong
guys.
about that, but
He's
it's definitely
the PewDiePie of Fox News.
Yeah. So these tapes were unearthed by some Media Matters intern who listened to every media appearance Tucker has ever made. And these clips are supposedly Tucker defending statutory rape, calling women primitive, using an anti-gay slur, denigrating Iraq and Iraqis. These clips date back to between 2006 and 2011, and it's a compilation of Tucker appearing on the Bubba the Love Sponge show. This is a shock jock radio program. I'm not familiar with it. For context, which we'll hear from in a moment, we'll hear the tapes in a moment.
Is it like Stern adjacent or something?
It sounds something like that, yeah. The statutory rape references are about Warren Jeffs. I don't know a lot about the Warren Jeffs case, but he was a fundamentalist Mormon who was convicted in 2011 of 2 counts of felony child sexual assault. He's currently serving a life sentence of 20 plus years, or no, life plus 20.
He married he was a polygamist, but he married at least one 16-year-old.
And he arranged marriages, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Anyway, just so you have context of what they're talking about. That's the deal. Here's the Tucker tapes that have been unearthed.
Well, actually, he's not in prison for that. Warren Jeffs didn't marry underage girls.
No, he's an accessory to the rape of children. That is a felony, and a serious one at that.
Oh, am I wrong about that?
I mean, I don't know if Tucker's claim is accurate.
Let me know in the live chat if I'm wrong. Maybe he didn't. Okay.
To me, the factual accuracy of the claims in this setting is kind of immaterial. It's just it's just opinions about this stuff, you know?
He's got some weird religious cult where he thinks it's okay to, marry underage girls, but he didn't do it. He's not accused of touching anybody. He is accused of facilitating a marriage between a 16-year-old girl and a 27-year-old man. That's the accusation. That's what they're calling felony rape.
But in our
state, that's bullshit. I'm sorry. Now, this guy may be a total creep, maybe a child rapist. I'm just telling you that arranging a marriage between a 16-year-old and a 27-year-old is not the same as pulling a stranger off the street and raping her. That's bullshit.
But you know what, in my brief experience, what gets women going is arguing with them.
Really?
Yeah.
Brad, I never use that.
It's true. You debate politics with a woman and just go, just full-blown out there, especially feminism. If you're talking to a feminist and she's giving you, men really need to be more sensitive and this. No, actually, men don't need to be more sensitive. You just need to be quiet and kind of do what you're told.
And lighten up a little bit, bitch.
They love it. Well, I love women, but they're extremely primitive.
True.
They're basic. They're not that hard to understand.
I feel sorry for unattractive women. I mean, there's nothing they did,
Tuck, do you like coming on with us? Because I like you. I mean, I'm not trying to fag out on you or nothing, but I like you.
Well, I like you, too. And I mean that. You always say I mean that in a non-fag way, but I actually mean it in a completely faggot way.
I wish I knew how to quit you, Tuck.
I wish I knew how to quit you, Tuck.
Iraq is a crappy place filled with a bunch of, semi-literate primitive monkeys. But I just have zero sympathy for them or their culture, a culture where people just don't use toilet paper or forks.
How could you salvage Iraq at this point?
I don't, it's beyond our control. I mean, if somehow the Iraqis decided to behave like human beings or something.
Now, to the point earlier, Tucker Carlson says they're not human beings. Huge controversy. Ilhan Omar says Trump is not a human being.
Whatever.
Nobody bats an eye.
Let's take these claims one at a time. I guess I think the most controversial one is probably the Warren Jeffs claim.
Probably. I mean, to me, I just their opinions, man. Their opinions on a shock jock show.
Well, it doesn't matter. Where's the lie? And I grew up in Missouri. The legal age is 17. So I'm supposed to believe that a marriage facilitated between a 16-year-old and a 27-year-old, which is practically the distance between my husband and I, is rape. I mean, and then we're importing a bunch of Mexicans where the age of consent is 12. So,
I don't.
This is not pedophilia. This is not rape.
all of that is stuff that I could conceivably hear being said on this show in a joking context or otherwise. This show, the Wednesday show,
context,
or even a totally serious context.
Just all that stuff. Where's the lie? And the thing about women getting turned on by you telling them to shut their mouths. I mean, we all know that's true, right? Like everybody knows that's true.
I can say that my life experience corresponds with Tucker's. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say here.
In terms of how the controversy developed, because quite honestly, it developed gloriously. I love how this controversy developed.
Oh, yeah.
Tucker came out on Sunday. So these tapes were released last weekend. Tucker comes out on Sunday and he releases a statement that says, "Media Matters caught me saying something naughty on a radio show more than a decade ago. Rather than express the usual ritual contrition, how about this? I'm on television every weeknight live for an hour. If you want to know what I think, you can watch. Anyone who disagrees with my views is welcome to come on and explain why." And then
when this story broke, I was like, oh no, this might be what cucks the Tuck. And then he came out with this, and I was like, all right. And it was the first thing he's tweeted in months.
Tucker, of course, has his say on Monday's broadcast, his evening broadcast. And I always love when people do this. Don't apologize and say, listen, I'm not going to bend to the mob rule. Good for him. This is what he had to say.
Why are the people who considered Bill Clinton a hero lecturing me about sexism? How can the party that demands racial quotas denounce other people as racist? After a while, you begin to think that maybe their criticisms aren't sincere. Maybe their moral puffery is a costume. Maybe the whole conversation is an absurd joke. Maybe we're falling for it. One of the only places left in the United States where independent thoughts are allowed is right here. The Opinion Hours on this network. For the left, it's unacceptable. They demand total conformity. Since the day we went on the air, they've been working hard to kill this show. We haven't said much about it in public. It seemed too self-referential. The point of this show has never been us. But now it's obvious to everybody. There's no pretending that it's not happening. It is happening. Yeah. And so going forward, we'll be covering their efforts to make us be quiet. For now, though, just 2 points to leave you with. First, Fox News is behind us, as they have been since the very first day. Toughness is a rare quality at a TV network, and we are grateful for that. Second, we've always apologized when we're wrong, and we'll continue to do that. That's what decent people do. They apologize. But we will never bow to the mob. Ever. No matter what.
Good.
Oof, that fired me up. Good for him.
Tucker Carlson did absolutely nothing wrong. Let's get into it.
White men have, they've contributed some, I would say. Like creating civilization and stuff. I think they've done a pretty, I don't know, whatever.
That's the fact, Jack. There's some really good, immigrants. I just think it's, people who come to this country ought to have something to offer. Be hot, be really smart. You know what I mean?
That's the fact, Jack. That's the fact, Jack.
And yet we're seeing the entire mainstream media dogpile on top of Tucker Carlson because he's the most powerful. Because he's the one that the young conservatives, that young people in America are tuning into. And I don't watch Fox News. I don't watch any mainstream media channel. But if I did, I would probably only watch Tucker Carlson. I don't like anyone else, honestly. All the other ones are just really not telling the truth when it comes down to it. The only person that I think is worth a damn on Fox News is Tucker Carlson. He talks about the important issues. He talks about the issues that us younger conservatives actually care about, us traditionalists actually care about. Even Sean Hannity. Some people like him. He's the second-rated show on Fox News. Tucker Carlson has surpassed him and has been past him for a long time because of the generational gap. But even Sean Hannity, he's constantly kind of shills, I guess you would put it in those terms, for the war, the pro-war establishment, whereas Tucker Carlson's He talks more along the lines of being an anti-interventionist. He's had Tulsi Gabbard on his show several different times. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of the younger conservatives like Tucker Carlson. One of the biggest reasons, as I've articulated for you and showed you data on my main channel about, is that the reason why CNN and MSNBC and everyone else are going after Tucker Carlson using their weapon, which is Media Matters, who's got completely shut down by Tucker Carlson recently, is because Tucker Carlson is the top-rated news pundit on all cable news, not just on Fox News. Now you're starting to understand why Fox is not reprimanding Tucker, why they're just letting people try to go after his advertisers, and even his advertisers are refusing to back down now, some of them. Some of them, I think he lost 26 advertisers in the first time that they tried to go after him. But then after I think he exposed Media Matters, now they're kind of holding back on pulling out of his show because they see that he's the top-rated, he's the most watched cable news pundit on all TV
V.
Tucker Carlson needs to go now, says the Washington Compost.
A lot of what Fox does in prime time is resentment television, making you resent the liberals and others who are trying to hurt you. That's the message from Fox. I think all of this matters because it's about decency and standards. It's about the corrosive, ugly, nasty behavior that sometimes happens on cable news or off cable news involving some of these hosts.
It's about decency, cries the eunuch. We must have decency. By which the eunuch means less disobeying, more obedience. Stop criticizing the program, or else. This is the face of state media. Why does Fox even exist, they wonder? We've got 11 other perfectly good cable channels, all of them approved by management and obedient to the people in charge. How could anybody watch something different?
That's how you do it. Instead of backtracking, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say malnourished. All you little kowtow, milquetoast spine, marshmallow fools. That's how you do it, pimpin'. You do not apologize. Once you apologize, they have gotten a little bit of taste of blood. That's what they've gotten. And now they're going for that pound of flesh. And they'll keep going and going and going and going. They want you to be, oh, I'm so sorry. No. What, you think I'm the same person 10 years ago? Like, the whole interview is just triggering. And it's a shock jock radio station. Like, miss me with this nonsense. And you know what? How Tucker handled this should be prime example for everyone else. Everyone else. And the only way it works is if you buckle. That's the only way it works, is if you buckle to this system. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the only way. And then they like, we are superior. That's right. Kneel in front of me. That's exactly what they want. Good for Tucker. Good for Tucker. Round of applause for Tucker.